listening to the CubeCast.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the CubeCast. Myself, Christy, and Tom.
Hi.
And we got Rob and Rob from Breathe Parkour. So I met Rob and Rob at, I went for a competition. It was super fun in Calgary, the South location. And these guys were super cool. I was super native to the scene in Calgary, and literally just like the parkour community, if you're in it, everyone knows you're in it. So thank you for being so kind to me while I was out there. And thank you for coming on the program.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming out there, and thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta have you guys there. Legends in the parkour world. Everyone knows you, I think. If they don't, then I don't know where they've been.
Listen up.
Honestly.
They will after this podcast, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
Are you two still training? Like, besides like the gym reopening, I assume. And are you doing your training? Do you have like anything you're working on?
Rob, go for it.
Yeah. No, we're definitely still training. We try to get out as much as we can. The summer's been a little tough just because we've been so busy at the gym. Just with the restart after COVID and summer camps coming up, like parents are literally throwing their kids at us. They're like, take them.
That's good to hear.
Take them, get rid of their energy. But yeah, we try to get out whenever we can. But yeah, definitely still actively training.
Good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just to reiterate, July and August are always kind of tougher months for training because we go from like an evening and weekends program to all day, every day. But Rob and I do train, all the time.
Yeah.
We need to, otherwise we go insane.
Yeah.
Just get all antsy, right?
Yeah.
You okay?
Sorry, was there a second part of your question? Was it like
I think it was if you were training and working. So you both answered those right off. But it looked like Tom was going to go for a question.
I was, and then it like just lost. I just forgot it. I've had a long day, I guess.
It happens. That's Friday.
Yeah, wow, my brain really stopped working there. I'm gonna go to my go-to questions here then. Get your guys' history a little bit.
That's where I was gonna go to.
Yeah. So, how old were you guys when you started, and how did you hear about parkour?
So I was, I guess, unofficially, I started in high school. I'm a little older than a lot of people in the community. I'm 37.
Nice.
So parkour didn't really exist like officially, or at least that I had heard about when I was when we were younger. But we used to do this thing. We called it aggressive walking, and we would just go around. And we're in high school. We've got nothing to do. We're just kind of like up to no good and walking around and just jumping on shit and pretty much playing as teenagers.
Yeah.
And then I moved out to Victoria, and when I was living there, I saw Casino Royale, and then I was like, wait a minute, is there like an official thing for what I've been doing for a while? and sort of heard about it through Casino Royale. And then when I moved into Calgary, there was the first gym here opened up, and I took a class, and that was sort of officially. So officially, probably like, I guess 11 or 12 years now, and then unofficially like 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hear that.
For me, I was 18 when I started, so it was just after high school. And I had known like kinda what parkour was for a while. I've been watching like YouTube videos and stuff. Some of the like older David Bell stuff I was sort of familiar with.
Oh yeah.
But I played basketball for the longest time. Surprise, surprise.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
You had no choice.
No choice. It was exactly. But I just started getting really tired of it, really bored of it. So this was one time I like Googled parkour in Calgary. I'm like, I gotta get involved in this somehow, and No Limits came up, and I also went to No Limits. Took my first class there with Jim, for the grandfather of Calgary parkour. Yeah, haven't looked back since.
Yeah. Wow.
I have a question. Did you two know each other coming up? Or like, are you the same age? Did you go to the gym at the same time?
I think Rob, I think you started before me.
Yeah. I was in like the first round of classes when they opened. But no, I don't, Rob, what am I, like 5 years older than you, I guess?
I'm 30.
7 years older than Rob.
Yeah.
And we met each other pretty much through No Limits, but we really started to train together when Breathe opened. Like I got a good vibe from you at No Limits back in the day, and we just sort of bumped into each other. We never really like called each other or anything. But then you applied to work at Breathe, and I was like, I think he'll be a great employee. Yeah, and way better than I could have possibly expected.
What about the Pody Boys? Like, did you train with them too as they were coming up as well? Because there's so many high caliber athletes like yourselves coming out of Calgary, you know.
We trained. We used to have like Sunday jams very often. So the Pody Boys would come out. I was part of a team called Optimal Movement with Patrick Schmeichel.
Was part of a team.
No, I am. No, I'm still part of it. The team's not super active right now. It's like me and Pat and Colin. Sorry.
What's the team's name?
Optimal Movement.
Optimal Movement. Okay, cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, we kind of went off there, but
oh, no worries.
Yeah, the Pody Boys.
But yeah, we would do Sunday jams most often together at 8th and 8th Century Gardens.
Right.
Man, I have so many good memories from that place.
The legendary.
I've only trained there once.
Yeah.
It's just reopened, and it's still decent. It's way better than I expected it was going to be after it shut down for construction like 3 years ago. But
did they actually get rid of a lot of the original stuff, or just kind of add on to it?
Both, I guess. Some stuff was definitely just totally removed. They also reinforced some stuff, so they took away some of the sketchier parts of it that were kind of crumbling with some like exposed rusty rebar and that kind of thing. Replaced the wood bridges with these what I thought were going to be pretty unstable bridge railings. You know, like when you find like a sweet wheelchair ramp and you go and test the railings, it's like hollow aluminum.
Yeah.
Like, this is useless to me. I thought they looked like that, but they're actually really sturdy steel. So that you can still
super sturdy steel. Yeah.
And that was a pleasant surprise. For sure.
Definitely still trainable.
Yeah, very much still trainable.
Cool.
And when I was coming up in the Calgary community, I actually didn't know anybody. I lived in the mountains. I lived in Canmore when I first moved out to Alberta. And so I actually trained alone most of the time. I would drive in from Canmore to Calgary once a week to take my parkour class. And then I was living out in the mountains and just doing like a lot of nature training and stuff like that. And didn't really meet these guys until like 4 or 5 years in for the most part.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was late to like the community itself and mostly just trained solo until I met them.
How, the skill level back then, did you find that you were like behind more relatively because you were training alone, or like
a little of both?
Groups people tend to expand.
There's like a collaborative nature for sure when you're in a group and you kind of challenge each other and you find people who do similar types of training, and it's just a little more comfortable breaking a jump when you've got somebody who does it first too. Like that's definitely part of it. But I also found that a lot of people, like No Limits was a sweet little gym, but it had a spring floor. It had the like soft stackums, and there were parts of it that were crutch. I noticed. So from like a flips standpoint and like an air awareness and proprioception, I was a little behind for sure. I didn't have anywhere safe to train, and I only went in for my class. Like I never went to open gym or anything like that. But I also mostly was doing like nature training and outdoor training almost exclusively. And even winter training, like in Calgary, obviously, well, you guys know winters, right? Out in Winnipeg, you know better than anybody. So, but I was still training outside in the winter and stuff, and I found that a lot of people don't do that at all. So, working on tons of like picnic table training, like I would just
good call.
But so training in the gym, they were better at like flips and stuff, but I worked a lot on power and just like repetition and the same movements over and over again and that kind of thing. And I would, take what I learned in class and literally practice it every day for a week and that kind of thing. So I was stunted in some ways for sure, but in other ways I felt like I had a little advantage over some people.
And how about you, Rob? What got you started in parkour? What was your thrill? Like, it's like, what is this? Or were you always playing?
Well, yeah. Well, I've always been super active and just involved in every sport I could possibly imagine. And I don't know. I guess what I liked about it is like, because all the sports I played were like ball sports. I did soccer, did basketball, did volleyball, track. Track was probably the closest thing I did to parkour.
Mm.
And it was just so self-driven. I didn't have to rely on the team. I could sort of practice what I wanted to practice. And it was just cool. Parkour was so
Yeah.
cool.
It really is.
Yeah.
It definitely, like, I mean, I grew up playing hockey, so I understand the team dynamic.
Yeah.
And it is so different than parkour or even track, where you're constantly working on these self progressions rather than these team things. It's kind of not so much about your progression, but just winning the next game.
True.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. More of a focus on the movement, like to do the movement for the sake of the movement rather than for some exterior sort of motive. Like do a precision because it looks awesome and feels sweet, you know?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Like, what do you think it's so cool? Yeah, exactly that. You do a precision further and further and further, and it's just like, I'm drilling this. I'm going to keep on going because I get a thrill out of it. Yeah. Like, I always win if I stick it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
100%. I love that.
So you guys are both like your head coaches at Breathe, is that right? Is that your titles there?
I'm a senior trainer at Breathe, and then Rob is the manager.
Okay.
Oh,
Not just that. Yeah, so Rob's underselling himself. He is the only senior trainer.
Right.
He's saying like there's many of them. He's also our program developer. He wrote our entire curriculum. He continues to excel at all of our programming constantly. He's got a kinesiology degree, and he brings all of that background and education into it. Like, just saying he's a senior trainer, it just sounds like he's been a coach for 7 years.
Cool.
He's a lot more than that.
Just to clarify as well, our curriculum was written by Jim, and I've just made adjustments.
That's true. Yeah, you've evolved the curriculum.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've sort of progressed it for it. Yeah, exactly. Well, yes, I do a lot of programming, especially this summer.
Yeah, no doubt.
So do you ever find it wild then that you're now, parkour is your careers right now? It's your jobs. That's what you get to do.
Like literally almost every day we like look at each other and we're like, how is this our job? This job is awesome.
Yeah.
Because
it's
I feel
incredible.
like so many people when they start parkour, it's one of those things like, can you imagine just getting to do this and training every day?
Yeah. And getting to bring up these kids too. Like it's like being able to grow the sport. Yeah, it's incredible. We're super lucky.
They're so good at that age too. Like Rob, when you and I are training, because I started parkour later too. You could teach a younger kid, way easier than it took for you to learn it.
Way easier.
Oh man.
Way easier.
And and that's the thrill for me. It's like, oh, right on, you got it like that, because it took me a couple weeks,
Yeah, I mean, there are pros and cons to that too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super satisfying, and watching these kids come up is incredible. But like, we've had a few athletes who get so advanced so fast that they've never fallen, and all of a sudden you're dealing with this athlete he's taking it outside.
Yeah,
it's incredible, working on some massive double Kong or like Kong fronting a gap or something like that, and he's never bailed before on a mat or in the gym in like a controlled environment. He hasn't learned how to fall, so when he does fall, it's a disaster. Versus like those smaller falls. That's one thing I really valued about, I guess, my approach coming in as an adult rather than as a kid, is that, like injury recovery and injury prevention were huge parts of my training, because I'd be out for 6 months if I like twisted my ankle. Whereas a kid, their leg like bends all the way up around behind their head, and then they're just fine, right? And they just get up and go. Well, Rob works really hard on making sure they know that too, and they work on falling as part of
Oh,
their.
I make my kids fall. I make them fall all the time.
Good.
How do you go about doing that? Like, because there's purposefully falling, and then there's falling when you're not expecting it.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a bunch of stuff I've developed over the years. Some of it is like pretty structured. So like I would teach forward falls, back falls, front rolls, back rolls, things like that. And then some stuff is really silly. Like I'd grab an exercise ball and the balance beam, and I'll just whip it at them. And then you gotta fall, and you gotta adjust.
Yeah.
And to clarify, the bounce beam is on the floor. It's not up in the air.
Yeah.
Save that for the advanced classes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. That's I'm gonna steal that if I'm teaching classes ever again.
Yeah, no doubt. I just
Start throwing things like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Changing subjects here. We'll go into some of the current training stuff. Something I'm curious about is if you guys do any like outside training besides parkour. Like, do you do calisthenics or weight training? And do you prefer one or the other? If you do.
Oh yeah, I'll go first. I definitely do. Yeah, I do a bunch of stuff. So I love calisthenics training. Try to do calisthenics training pretty regularly. I always like dip back into weights periodically, like probably like once a year for a few months. I'll go into some strength training program or something like that, and then come back to the calisthenics. What I like about calisthenics is that you can just do it anywhere, right? So it's just so flexible that way. I find if I've in the past when I've relied on a gym and then like a gym isn't readily available, then I don't work out. Whereas the habit with calisthenics means if I'm at home in quarantine, if I'm out camping, if I'm anywhere, I can still manage to get a workout because I can maintain that habit. But I do think there's a place as far as treating yourself like an athlete to incorporate power lifts and stuff like that, just to obviously increase your power, right? Increase that output. And then I also skateboard because I always skateboarded as a kid, and I've never not owned a skateboard. So just as far as other sports, to stay engaged and stay creative and to keep having fun. Yeah.
Nice. I feel like skateboarding is a good one for parkour because I don't know. To me, it's scarier.
Yeah.
Me too.
Do you skate too, Rob?
No, I have a very long, stable longboard that I sometimes
Same.
use.
I don't. I used to trick when I was younger, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, I'm not interested in breaking bones or having weird bruises in weird places. Like, I'll accept it with parkour. Like, oh yeah, so, my ribs are out. I was doing parkour. Like skateboarding, my ribs are out.
I skateboard occasionally, but I recently came to the decision that I'm not going to do it again without like full knee pads and helmet and elbow pads. It's the lamest. I'll do parkour without any equipment, but skateboarding,
Yeah, that's me.
I'm pretty similar to Rob as well. Usually in the winter, I shift back to lifting, lifts in the gym, squats, and deadlifts, and really working on just my maxes.
Right.
Recently I've been working on a lot of like mobility stuff, not just like getting more flexible, but actually getting strong and like extended ranges of motion.
Right.
So like a lot of knee over toes stuff.
Right on.
I've been following this knees over toes guy. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
We bought the program. We're training.
Oh yeah.
Slant board and everything.
Well, that's awesome.
That's
nice.
So awesome. Yeah, I've been working on that.
I really
stuff
like
for
it.
months.
I find if I don't do it, even my lower back seizes up if I don't do it. Like, and I can tell stiffness in my legs if I don't do these simple exercises. Because I'm still on zero. Zero. Yeah, I've been on it for the last 3 months. I'm moving up though. I'm moving up.
Yeah.
But it's
I haven't bought the program. I'm just sort of just going off his YouTube videos. But so far the stuff I've done with it like my knees have felt the best they've ever felt in my whole life. It's crazy how much they're different.
Yeah, I guess you of all people being taller, you'd feel that more, right? Like, it's honestly just
I,
being taller. I think it has more of an effect on your joints over.
I guess.
Definitely. You're at
Yeah,
an evolutionary
yeah.
disadvantage, Rob. Deal with it. I'm just kidding. I just envy your height.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, well, I have always had issues with. Maybe it's because I'm tall. I think a lot of it comes through just my a lot of the basketball. Like it's very asymmetric. So like always
Oh yeah.
jump off one foot, or you gather steps off your other foot, and
True.
dealing with those imbalances as well has
Yeah.
always been like tough. And there was like a period of 2 years where I would hurt one knee and then be out for a few months. Like, sweet, I'm back into it, and then hurt the other knee. And they would just like switch back and forth.
Like a tag team, right? You're in.
I get that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but beyond that, I do a whole bunch of other stuff too. Like I play volleyball. I played volleyball yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Me and Rob, we shoot hoops at the gym as well. Hiking once in a while. So I love doing just a lot of different things. Like parkour is my main thing. I like other stuff as well. So,
Nice.
I guess it's you guys are both at the north location, right? So that's a pretty awesome looking facility, right? It's got a bit of everything in there.
Oh yeah, it's a huge benefit. Because I mean, there's like the conventional gym for lifting weights. There's obviously the parkour space. There's basketball courts. There's floor hockey. Like there's everything in there. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, we're very privileged when we're just like in the morning, like you want to like play basketball or something before we really get started here, and just like yeah, let's do it. Let's go shoot.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Pretty
jealous
much.
at all.
I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's really cool. Have any of you have entered a competition yourselves, or does that interest you at all?
Rob, go for it.
I've done. Let me think about it. I've local stuff. So I've done. I think Duke Jam. I did one year.
Oh, cool.
I did speed for Duke Jam, and then just for fun, I did freestyle. I'm not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did freestyle too. That's which was hilarious.
Just for fun. Yeah. It was a great experience. And then the Goons guys, I did their comp as well. I did skill during the Goons comp. And then beyond that, I think I did with the Empire guys from Saskatoon, I did one of their speed comps.
Cool.
And it was a wonderful experience. I loved it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I haven't really competed at all. And I'm not super interested in competing. It's not why I train. But that being said, I'm not like anti-competition. I think it's a great outlet for a lot of people. It's a great motivator. It's a great like direction for younger students as well. It's really nice to have competition to show, this is something to strive for, because a lot of kids have a hard time. They like direction and focus and reason. And I don't do this for those things, but at the same time, like I'm really grateful that it does exist and continues to be a part, especially something like the grassroots organizations putting on competitions. I think it's really good for communities to see that and provide purpose for a lot of students.
Do you guys like the SPL stuff? Is that something you want to, or does Breathe already integrate that into things? Like, have you done competitions in the past with SPL or?
Not we haven't
Not officially?
directly worked with them.
Yeah.
But honestly, when I'm teaching at Breathe, like I tell my kids, I'm like, there are three formats in parkour. There's freestyle, there's speed, and there's skill.
Right.
And honestly, the SPL guys, Vancouver guys, do a great job when it comes to competition stuff. As far as I'm concerned, that's parkour competition.
Yeah, that's the high standard for sure. I think I think they nail it. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I love what they do.
Right on. No controversial takes on that then. Good.
Sorry,
no, I really like that.
I actually
SPL
sorry,
stuff
no,
too.
never mind. I'm gonna backpedal a bit. I actually love Fig. I think Fig should be in all competition.
There it is.
There's a clip right there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I want full sprints. That's parkour.
Oh.
That's real parkour.
miniature house builds.
Yeah.
Full sprint.
Miniature houses.
Oh my god.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
parkour is. Damn it.
Oh, Jesus.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna, since we're on the competition, what's your favorite, both of you? What's your favorite move? Like, is it a combo or something you always put in a line? I know I always have a favorite move I put in my lines, and I try to get them out, but it just works so good every time.
Rob, go for it.
For us, it's kind of funny. It's almost a bit of a meme among our friend group, but like
Definitely
the Kong
exactly.
3
Breeze, for sure.
it's almost its own sport.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
True.
It's a subgenre within parkour within us.
Yeah,
For sure.
No, they're
Yeah,
they're
well-
killer. Yeah.
Oh man, we're always on the lookout for like the biggest like level concrete we could find.
Or the dumbest one, like
Or
low
the dumbest
takeoff,
one, yeah.
or like low to high, like really just technical and stupid. And like I love finding
Yeah.
low ones for tall Rob to try to do too, because he's so tall, it's hilarious. But then he'll come up to me and there's one that's up to my nose, but it's
Yeah,
only like
no
4.
problem.
I'm just like, shit, okay. And just analyzing technique, like different takeoff
Yeah.
points from depending
Yeah.
on the height of the structure, and yeah, like it's hilarious. Yeah.
All right, for everyone listening, Rob, how tall are you?
I'm 6'7".
Jesus, holy.
Yeah.
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 He's a giant.
Yeah. Well,
that-
you're
gotta get
you're a
some
pretty
big
funny
dips in
guy.
there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I like watching your videos. You make me laugh sometimes.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
hilarious.
thank you. I guess.
And keep that 6'7" in mind. His videos, the perspective. Once you realize he's 6'7",
Oh, I
you
hate
actually
it.
understand the scale of the stuff he's doing, because it's huge, but he makes everything look so small.
It's
Yeah.
so annoying. It's so annoying.
I can only imagine because I'm only 6'1", and there's sometimes when I feel like I'm doing a huge jump and I look back and like looks tiny.
Yeah.
So I can only an extra half a foot on there.
Oh man, I know exactly what you mean. I was when I first met you guys know Brian? Paul Brian from he's from the States.
Brian Prince. Yeah.
Brian
Oh,
Prince.
yeah.
Yeah, he was the
No.
Predator. I remember talking to him and we had like the same thing. Do you ever like film a big jump and then look at it and realize it's really small? I'm like, yes! I do. I know exactly what you're
Every
talking about.
time.
Yeah. So that is annoying.
Yeah.
But I don't let it hold me back though. I focus on how it feels.
I use his height against him all the time because I'm small, so we're working on the same challenge, and I'm just like, you should be working on a challenge a foot bigger than this. I'm 5'9". You should be hitting like a 10-foot concrete, Rob.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating because he's kind of right. He's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of right.
That's not how physics works, though.
It's
Yeah.
not how physics work. No.
No.
It's-
Oh man. Sorry, my face is kind of hurting now just from laughing and smiling.
There you go. Along the same lines, so training. Do you prefer training solo, or do you prefer training as a group or jams?
Go for it, Rob.
Okay. I'm probably in the minority. I really like jams for like community building,
Me
but
too.
I actually I don't get nearly as satisfying of a training experience as I do with like a couple close friends who train the same way I do. Going out with like 2 or 3 guys or girls, like it doesn't really matter. But if we're there, we in Calgary we have this distinction. We call it power jumping or obstacle dancing, and like. We don't really like, because we're not like purists, like we do flips and stuff like that, but just our general approach, it's often singular big challenges. Like a big concrete, a big cat leap, maybe like a couple small things strung together, like big stride line or something like that. And like I'll go out with guys who are more, like freestylers for the most part. And I can do like front flip, back flip, side flip. And so beyond that, I get a little lost. So we go to like a shin high ledge with grass on the other side. and I have tapped my skill set in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I love going out with
Feel
guys
that.
like Rob or our buddy Riley or Ilya, and we all train looking for similar challenges, and we push each other and
Cool.
work on progressions, break down the challenge, like really just get into it, talk about it. And with jams, I often find you're lining up for a long time. There's a lot of like talking, like socializing. So I love it for the community building. But sometimes I end up like I'm cooling down in the middle of a jam because I've been having a really good conversation with somebody. So I love jams, but if it's strictly for training, if it's for like, I guess, pushing myself and my own accomplishments that day, I like a small group of like-minded athletes.
Cool.
So then, what do you prefer, small group or solo?
Oh, yeah.
Good. That's a good question. I think I get different things out of each one. So solo stuff, rarely am I pushing my own like limits. I guess I'm very much drilling things I'm comfortable with, like working on technique, working on reps. I'll often just do the same jump 10 times, that kind of thing, and just really just trying to nail down my comfort zone. I guess like say my max Kong-Pre is 9 to 9.5 feet. I'll find a nice 8-foot Kong-Pre and then just like drill that all day.
Right.
And so I'm going to come out of that session exhausted, and I'm going to come out of it a better athlete in a lot of ways.
Right.
But am I going to have that kind of high you get from breaking down a progression, and pushing yourself? And I rarely do that alone. Usually that's with someone else. So I got to go small group overall.
Yeah.
But I think strictly like endorphins and what's making me like, feel really good and light and happy. I got to go small group.
Dang.
Nice.
When you were talking there, I had flashbacks of my last like little jams and big jams. I'm like, you're totally nailing everything. Like I'm just so nostalgic as you were talking. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone has to get all of it in there. Each one has its own
it does.
thing
It's
that
hard.
it offers, right?
49,
100%.
51 kind of thing, yeah. And Rob?
I like a little bit of everything, honestly. I honestly miss big jams. I haven't been to a big jam. I haven't really done a big jam in a very long time. So I'm really, really missing those right now.
Same.
But I do love big jams. I do love training in a smaller group, like Rob said, with like-minded athletes as well. Very much so, because we push each other, we break things down. We're sort of interested in the same things. I do enjoy solo training as well, because it is a little bit more focused, a little bit more meditative. So fewer distractions. Really focus on a specific aspect of your training when you do that. It's hard to pick one, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the same one Rob picked. Like also like a like-minded, similar small group of athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually where I get the most satisfaction.
Yeah. But I think the big jams are super fun too, because it's like an event, like I can't celebrate somebody's birthday every day of the year. I'll be hungover the entire time. And I won't enjoy it. But if like every 3 months or 4 months, you get to look forward to this big thing. You get to see people you haven't seen in a long time. You get to just like be around parkour people that like, rarely am I surrounded. Like obviously we've got kids at the gym and stuff, but rarely am I surrounded by like 100 adults who do this. Most of the adults in my life think I'm ridiculous.
Same.
Yeah, so when you go to one of these things and it's just like these are my people, this is fantastic.
Exactly.
And it's really motivating and engaging, right? So maybe the training that day isn't the training I'm going to get in a small group, but I'm going to go back home with that small group and we're going to feel engaged and motivated. We're riding it for, a couple weeks to a month after the event, like having seen what other people worked on, been like, oh my God, I need to drill that and like break it down in the gym and learn a new trick or whatever it happens to be. And so there's definitely something so satisfying about that experience.
Yeah, there's something just, I don't know, magical about like going to a big jam with people you've never met before, and just having a common language, like both physically and physically, and like instantly connecting with many different people. I actually experienced that yesterday with volleyball. I haven't played volleyball in like months. I was asked to sub at a team, so I like jumped in and like instantly, like it was like, bam, we all know where we're going, what we're doing. And it's just the same with parkour. Like it's those big jams are awesome. Very fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. It is a highlight of a year, if that's how many times you can go out once a year. But you're right. You're riding that high afterwards.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. I know the couple times I went out to Calgary and trained with you guys out there for the various, or I guess jam and whatever. It definitely like helps spark something like a passion again for it, for parkour, for moving. For a while after too, kind of buzzing from that for a bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And from our perspective, running the gym too, it's nice to go to gyms that are hosted by other gyms because you get ideas, you get inspiration.
Yes.
You get to talk about their design, their programming, and just come back with just, again, a different type of motivation. It's not as training focused, but it's still like, oh man, like let's engage our clients with some of these cool ideas that we picked up.
And it's nice to attend an event that you're not running.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I've definitely ran some events in the past and been like, man, why do I have to be the one with the clipboard right now?
Yeah.
Totally. Keep it moving instead of being like, sorry guys, you got to stop your challenge because we're about to open up a speed run. Hate to interrupt. Womp.
It happens.
So speaking of coaching, one thing I've been asking a few of the people, or at least the coaches that have come on here, is how they manage to get their students that they teach more involved in the community. Because there's a bit of a disconnect there, right? There's like kids just going to classes and showing up, and then there's the people that kind of transition over into the parkour life.
Yeah.
Is that something you try to push, like, or not push, I guess, but try to encourage kids to do, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, it's tough. Kids get used to the gym. Parents get used to the gym. It's a very safe space, both like physically and it's a comfortable space. And going outside is like it's a big challenge sometimes. But we're slowly working towards it. We recently started a competitive program at our gym. So
Oh, nice.
not all of our programming is purely recreational.
Yeah.
So there's like, they come in, they're introduced to parkour. We have our curriculum, which they work through, but a lot of it's very self-directed. So recently with my elite team, it's more of a concentrated group of athletes who really want to go sort of beyond what we teach at the curriculum. And last year, before the first shutdown, I actually brought them outside for their first outdoor jam.
Nice.
Cool.
And they loved it.
Right.
More of this. I know we do.
Good.
So we're slowly starting to think of like even from a programming perspective, starting to teach classes outside. If we ever have someone ask about training outside, we direct them to our Facebook group where people post if they're training outside. We have a bunch of dads in our gym, like a good solid group of like parkour dads that have their kids in their classes. They also do parkour. And they're an awesome
kid.
Yeah, and they're starting to get outside now just because they have like a kid with them. Michael Lee's one of them. He brought Jacob. I think brought Jacob to Century Gardens. They had the little line there with him. So it is tough, but we're starting to push people slowly in that direction, and it's exciting.
I think it was the chain store, I want to say, in London. I think they actually offered outside, like outdoor only classes. Which seems like a good idea. I mean, there's probably some liability things there.
We've looked into that actually. We thought about doing some for this summer, but because of COVID and the reopening and stuff like that, it was tough. But we actually were limited to only outdoor programming for.
That's cool.
Right.
Was it May, Rob? May and early June or something like that? And so we had
a bit of April as well.
Okay, yeah. And
Yeah,
so we couldn't have anybody in the gym. So we have a big like C-can storage container in the back. We just put a bunch of our gym equipment in there and then set up with this like grass strip.
Right.
And literally the same structures as in the gym. These kids were on outdoors, and it was like a totally different experience for them.
Wicked.
Yeah, and their parents were wary at first, but then they were like, they love this.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just the wind and the sun or what it is, something different.
Totally.
But yeah, we brought mats out. Like it was literally the same thing, but it was such a different experience for them, and their confidence went way down, which I think was a good thing though. Just like recognizing, like getting out of their comfort zone. You know, like even though it's the same box, now that it's on grass, they're a little bit more hesitant. You can see them coming up with their own progressions as they're running up stuff. You're like, those are the skills that are so hard to teach, and it was really cool to see them do it.
Totally. Yeah, we had one section on grass and we had one section on concrete. So we usually do like we set up our jumping equipment, and then we laid one of our walls up against the C-can, so they would like do cats on the wall, and then as a treat, I had them climb up on top of the C-can and then jump onto a crash mat. So they really enjoyed that. And what was actually really cool as well is the other corner of our building actually has like some decent little jumps as well. So there's like a bay door with two like concrete ledges.
Oh, nice.
And there's also like a really awesome wall just down the street. So I would be like teaching wall runs and be like, you guys want to see a real wall run?
Cool.
And then take them all the way down to the other side of the parking lot. Being like, there it is.
Yeah.
And then I would show them, and then they would try it a little bit. So that was actually I never actually thought of it that way, Rob, but that was actually a really interesting way to sort of introduce our guys to outdoor training, having the movable stuff on the grass, and then immediately on the other side of the parking lot, like actual structures,
the actual thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Parkour vision, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Another super hard skill to teach when kids are coming up in a gym.
Oh, good. Yeah, I gotta remember that.
Yeah, right. Because I guess when you're in a gym, everything's already purpose built in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's
even permanent
built in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tricky. Community, like it's a good question because organic community growth is a really challenging thing to just assume will happen, I guess. I think, coming up in the earlier days of parkour, maybe there were so few of you, especially like teenagers and adults, so you just gravitated to each other. But yeah, opening the gyms, it's interesting because we thought, for example, earlier on, we thought like having unlimited open gym at all times whenever we're open was a good thing. But in a lot of ways, people would come at different times. So we would often meet students who were like, oh, you would love training with this guy, but you come on Tuesdays, he comes on Thursdays. Like you're never going to cross paths. And like, what level of privacy invasion is it if I'm like, here's this guy's phone number? Like, you can't do that. And trying to organize events to like bring people to, it's really tricky, especially when you are also doing your job too, right? It's a weird, it's a weird responsibility on leadership within the community. Like, to what level are you responsible for building the next generation? Because we also work there, and so like we purposefully train when we're closed pretty regularly because we don't want kids running beneath us. Dying. Rob's enormous. He's gonna decapitate a child if he does like a cat back, a blind cat back, and some kid comes whipping around the corner.
And I tell him that. I'm like, get on my way.
But coming out of COVID, I'm really excited to see we're getting so much interest. I'm really excited about how we're gonna bounce back from all of this. The interest is through the roof right now on our programming, and just what are some community development ways we can do to bring up this next generation, because it's super important.
It really is important.
I think it's what keeps people, right? Like if it's just literally a checklist of skills, once you're done the checklist, you're gone. It's over. You did it. You finished. Right? Like
completed it. It's all done.
But finding those people and like those, even just like your own small groups, right? Whatever it happens to be, to challenge each other and build on what you know and learn from each other. It's so important.
Very good. And again, I just had an awesome question in my head, and then it like went away.
Think of it, Tom, and you can interrupt me anytime. But to just riff off of that, I feel when Tom and I were at a training place, we won't mention the name, hey Tom, and I felt that as a a community member in parkour that I didn't do my due diligence and raise younger or people around me up in it, and then we have this huge gap where it's like a generation that we missed out on.
Yeah.
And you can see it in our community. And so like even now I speak for Tom too, but we try and get people really into it. Someone's watching us do parkour and their eyes are just peeled back and it's like, hey, you like what we're doing? Yeah, I've seen it before. Casino Royale, kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, you're gonna learn something. You got a minute? You got 10? I'll teach you something. No, it's okay. No, just do this, kind of thing.
That's
awesome. We try and really preach coming out and doing it and getting other kids and people involved. But yeah, gotta close that gap.
Yeah, I love that. Taking that concerted effort. I think it happened organically for sort of Calgary's first generation. It was just so easy and natural. But the assumption that that's going to continue happening is just, it's wrong. I think it's been proven wrong. Like you said, like a generation of kids, right? Like
there was
a generation of people who just sort of maybe dabbled and then left.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out ways to bring them together. Because I think it's really about finding those like-minded, similar-aged people who are just it's training together is how you build that. And if you're all sort of fragmented and never brought together in some way, and I think that's sort of the duty that as leaders of your community you have, and taking a leadership role, I think is an often neglected role that as leaders of our communities, putting in that effort is worth it in the long run.
It really is.
So that reminds me of, I've had lots of the Pody boys on here. They're kind of said having the two gyms kind of split people more.
Oh yeah.
Did you find that to be true? Like some people are like, we're get that north versus south mentality, or
Well, I don't think it was a north versus south
like not a
mentality,
competition, but
no. But what was interesting for me is when we were at one location, I literally at one point knew everyone in Calgary that did parkour. They had either come through my class or they worked for us, or they came through open gym, and I could literally recognize faces. And then once we got to 2 gyms, then there was kids that are coming up now actually to our north gym. This kid. So in a way, yes, it was a little bit split. I was a little bit lucky. I was able to teach at both gyms. I was mostly up north, but I was able to dabble down there as well. So in a way, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I could see it. Similar to the open gym time being just like you can come whenever you want, so you might never cross paths. You're definitely never going to cross paths when you're at 2 locations, which is a tricky balance because I love the idea of being able to expand. Right? We lost a lot of members when we closed our south gym. Just because they won't drive to our north. So now not only will they never cross paths, but those kids also aren't doing parkour. And I guess in hindsight, probably something like, I don't know, field trips to the other gym, like organizing class swaps or something like that, or some way to integrate it. So recognizing these are all members of one community.
Yeah.
Some way to bring them all together, I think would have been, but it would have at least helped with combating that. But again, when you're dealing with kids, most of what you're dealing with is parents. And if it's not convenient for parents, they're not going to do it.
Right.
Which is really frustrating sometimes. Yeah, but I am really excited. We're down to the 1 location now. And as sad as it was to see the South Gym go, because I love that gym.
I really liked it too.
Oh man, it was very much a source of a lot of pride for me. I love it. At the same time, I love our new space, and having the 1 location hopefully will help with some of that stuff. Rebuilding the community, bouncing back, and just crushing it in the fall. I'm super stoked about it.
It's more accessible, is it not? The new gym, through C trains and.
100%. Yeah, it's one of the reasons,
more.
Yeah, one of the reasons that's the one we kept. There's a few reasons. Obviously, we're inside of that larger athletic facility too, which played a big role in it. But it's central. It's right off Memorial, right by a C train. Deerfoot's 5 minutes away. These are all major arteries in Calgary.
Yeah,
probably everybody knows the words.
Tom doesn't listeners.
Yeah, they're like highways and major thoroughfares throughout the city that lead directly to the gym. So it's super convenient to get to.
I think too, as this world kind of gets to a new type of normal here, a lot of the communities are going to have to kind of, what am I looking for? Kind of, I guess, rebuild a little bit. I feel like everyone's kind of dipped out a little bit across the board.
A lot of people stopped training and stuff. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
on
thinking that
lockdown.
earlier.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, in the next year, it's going to be interesting to see the kind of more post-pandemic parkour world.
Post-pandemic.
I find like if people that dipped out, if they see like a group or a small group of people, or even as a single individual, like training at a certain wall, whatever, and they were like, "Oh, I once did parkour. Hey, are people still doing this? Yeah, it's huge. It's whatever. I love it. Have you seen the new gym? No. Oh, maybe I'll get back into it." But I think like people actually seeing other people still, it doesn't matter what age, are still out there more and more. I think that will be a draw for people to come back in and maybe get rebirthed into it.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd love that. Yeah, I could see it. A lot of people don't know how to like balance or deal with plateauing in their skills too.
Oh
so
yeah.
I think a lot of people, like, if you're plateauing and then something like COVID happens and you're just like, all right, I'm done for a while. But sometimes that break is exactly what you need, though.
Exactly.
After a plateau, get re-engaged, re-inspired. It's not just about learning that trick you weren't able to learn again. It's that you haven't moved for 6 months to a year, and all of a sudden you're just like into it again. And I think you're right. I think exposure, reminding them that this was something they loved at one point, can hopefully bring them back in.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh yeah, my question from before just popped in my head.
Nice.
People wanting to take classes at Breathe, is that something they can kind of drop into classes whenever, or do they have to register for a segment at a time? Or is it just kind of open?
So what we do is we have something called a trial month, with essentially the first month of our memberships. So they can try it for a month free. It involves either classes once a week or twice a week, and unlimited open gym as well. So they can come to a class and stay for as long as they want, practicing their skills, and come in even days on when they don't have their class. So that's what most people do to get started at our gym.
And it's not a registered program, so you can jump in whenever you want. You can just, you could start tomorrow if you wanted to, whenever you wanted. Yeah.
So cool.
So for all the thousands of Calgary listeners, go to Breathe. You can join whenever you want.
Yeah, flood the gates.
Yeah.
See what we can do.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that people are actually getting back into it, and there's a lot of interest again.
Well, me too. That's a huge relief.
Yeah.
God.
For so many reasons.
Yeah.
So how are we doing on time for everyone?
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. For me, it's like 6-ish. Doesn't have to be on the dot 6. I don't want to do another like round of questions or something like that, but
Sure, we'll do maybe a couple questions. Didn't get into any really travel talk.
Yeah, and I'm super down for a part 2, like you guys mentioned earlier too, because I know your list of questions was pretty extensive, and Rob and I ramble a bit regularly.
The podcast takes care of itself most of the time. It's a lot of rambling. It's good.
Yeah. So have you guys done any purposeful parkour traveling? Any trips?
Anything planned?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've definitely done trips specifically for parkour. It's kind of funny, like all my vacation last few years was a parkour trip. I never actually rested at all. I came back from essentially a training camp and was exhausted. But my soul was sort of refilled,
Yeah.
My body was destroyed.
That's awesome.
But yeah, what are some of our trips, Rob? We went to Houston. Was one of our trips. We drove down to Houston. Yeah, we did.
We always did road trips. Generally, it was always just some kind of North American road trip, driving somewhere for a week to 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, we did the Seattle Portland trip, which was super dope.
Wow.
Yeah. The Ontario trip, but you couldn't come to the Ontario trip. Yeah, because we did 5 years in a row. We did a different road trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Rob had a tragic family incident, so he wasn't able to do the Ontario trip.
Yeah.
Rob, for so many reasons.
Was there
But-
some jams going on then in like Portland, Seattle? Was that why you guys went there, or was it just
No, yeah, it was literally just let's
go
just get a car, pick this week, and go.
hmm
I was sick.
Cool. That's really awesome.
I had an opportunity to go to Art of Retreat in New York a few years ago.
Oh, damn, really?
Oh,
Yeah. And then I think Rob went as well.
I went to the
Sure,
Seattle one.
after.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Seattle.
nice.
Yeah, so that was awesome. It was fantastic.
Worth doing for sure, especially
yeah.
talking
There's
about
so many
things
good
like
things.
running a gym or community building, like those kind of things. More the like, I guess the less glamorous side of making parkour a career, right? Like there's the high level athlete, which is great, but at the same time, for parkour to continue to grow and progress, like you also need all these other things like entrepreneurs and managers and event coordinators and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's a wonderful event for some of that behind the scenes stuff, videographing and filmmaking and stuff. Like it's an incredible event. I couldn't recommend it highly enough.
The idea behind that is basically everyone coming in is kind of presenting something. Is that right? Like everyone's gonna do a little TED talk, kind of.
Yeah, essentially. I think there's a bunch of workshops you could choose from based on like what you were interested in. Obviously, there was some jamming. But yeah, it was essentially a weekend of talks and conversation and presentation.
But not every person who goes doesn't have to present. There's sort of like a
Yeah,
set
okay.
list. Yeah, so you've got like I think there's a couple hundred people when I went, and then a few dozen who were actually doing these workshops and things. Yeah.
Damn. Well, yeah, that's sounds really interesting. I wonder if those are gonna keep going in the future.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in regards to traveling too, actually, Rob and I are planning on going to France in May to do the pilgrimage to Lee's. And
No way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm so
Are you?
excited.
Oh, I wish you the best. That's great.
So
That's
excited.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow. Back to
Dare
the
to
Holy
dream.
Land.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I really hope it can happen. I don't love where things are going right now, but I really hope we can get out there.
Well, that's a whiles away.
It's a while away. Yeah, I'm still very optimistic.
Yeah, same here.
So Rob, we're a manpower gap, right?
That's right. Obviously,
I mean,
Yeah.
We got
I'm not
it.
going to.
No, I'm not
gonna
gonna
be
do
there.
manpower either.
I'm going to gain her full manpower.
Full man.
I'm gonna double side manpower gap.
There you go.
Dang.
heard it here first, everyone.
No,
I'll climb up manpower.
Try
Though. I
it.
do
Just
want
try
to
it
look at it.
once.
I'll
I
absolutely.
do want to look at it too.
But yeah, I'm not going there to do the checklist of insane shit that.
No. Yeah, but
That's
seeing
the
it,
full David Bell run.
Yeah,
Manpower drop.
Oh yeah,
all the way
with
down.
all the drops. Oh my god.
Man, seeing that last drop he does in that run after he turn vaults and drops down like bounces after hitting,
Oh.
it hurts my body looking at.
Yeah.
I gotta watch some old David Bell videos. He's so
They're
good.
great. Yeah, they're wonderful.
Good.
But watching them bottom out is less wonderful.
Yeah, do you guys have you tried reaching out to any of the OGs, the real OGs out there that are still training?
I haven't really thought about that. Yeah.
No,
That's
a cool idea. See if they want to hook up and
Yeah.
tour around or something.
Just hit up David Bell, you know.
Yeah.
Go out for a sesh.
That's a pretty big
The
size.
Yamakasi guys.
The Yamakasi, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I saw a video of Williams Bell the other day.
Oh,
He's still
yeah.
training.
Nice.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. You guys should do it.
That would be sweet, actually. That's a great idea.
That would be pretty cool.
I'll reach out. I mean, no harm in reaching out just to see, for sure.
Maybe recreate the old school clips they have there.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
We'll call it the Robakazi. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Kamikaze,
Yes.
a lot of firsts here today.
Oh my god.
All right. I guess we won't push time too much more. There's always the one last segment, though.
For sure.
Christy, do you want to have the honors?
Yeah, should we do all three of them or just one of the three? Or that's what I was thinking.
Just go right Right to the
Okay.
sage advice.
All right. Oh, that one. Okay. Oh, my favorite. The sage advice. So the sage advice is, what would you tell someone or give somebody some advice coming into parkour who have already established themselves? Like, what would be your thing to say to them?
What did you wish you knew when you started?
That too.
Rob, do you have
Keep your
something right
back
away?
straight. Keep your back straight when you precision jump.
What was that?
I didn't hear that.
Keep your back straight when you precision jump.
Oh, yeah.
Blow out your knees.
That's your sage advice.
Oh, no.
Posture, that's
Oh, I love
important.
it. I love it. It's good.
Solid.
I guess I would say my advice would be don't forget why you love to do it.
Yes.
Don't get distracted by learning the next big trick, hitting the next big jump. My big thing, I knew pretty early I wasn't going to be a professional high level athlete. But then I was like, well, what am I going to be? And my first thing was like, well, I'm going to be a coach. That's what I want to be. I want to be a professional high level coach. And then the second thing is I just want to be able to do it forever. I just want to be able to never stop doing parkour because I love parkour. Essentially, doing it for its own sake, because it's cool, because it's fun, and not getting too distracted by the big stuff or the big goals that you might have. That's what I would say.
That's a good one.
Solid advice.
That's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
I'll use that advice
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. I'm in that boat.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to check in with yourself. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this big gap or Kong Pre? Oh, yeah, because of the adrenaline that I do. Or the feeling you get. If you don't get any of that, then why are you doing the thing that you're doing? Reassess. Yeah, good one.
Yeah, I really like that. I couldn't agree more with Rob about like don't lose the purpose. Not just physical advancement, but it's mental, it's spiritual, it's
Right.
therapy,
Mhm.
it's a deep connection. It's so much more than just the physical. If you want to do it forever, if you're just dabbling in this, or when you're in your physical peak, that's one thing. But if you really do want to do it forever, tap into all of those things and make sure you're progressing and advancing those.
Mhm.
But also, like Rob said about coaching, I think everybody has something to offer the sport and can help it grow. I think when people think, how do you make a living in parkour? It's not just high level athlete. You have something to offer. Fine, if you want to parkour to be a career, find what you love about it and find something you're good at, and then combine those two things. Figure out what you can offer to the sport. It's super undervalued. I love being a manager. Very few people look at. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. That's a whole lot of weight and stress. I don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt looming over me. That sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
But I love working with my staff. I love developing these things. I love seeing these kids come up. So find the thing, whether it's making videos. Maybe you're not going to be a high level athlete, but like if you look at something like I compare it to skateboarding all the time, but like people make a great living just filming skaters, right? And they love skateboarding. Those guys who film it love skateboarding. And there's so many opportunities within an evolving industry to make this a career. Be able to follow your dreams and follow something you love. And I think that's super important, and not a lot of people think about it beyond the athlete, beyond that sort of like the front of the lens kind of person that they're seeing online.
Yeah. Going forward too, I think we're going to see more of that, like the diversification of parkour in general, because not everyone's going to be a Dom tomorrow, right? Like,
no. Look at guys like Giles. You look at guys like Giles, like he leans into that now. He's still like a celebrity essentially in our world. But that guy is a great example of somebody who just like found something he's good at and turned it into a career, turned it into his passion into a sustainable living. And he's an inspiration, right? Like, and people look up to him, and he's not doing the craziest like side flip rail pre, but he's filming the guy who did, or he's putting out the guy who created that, and creating opportunities for athletes and pushing the sports and or the sport. Anyway, I could go on about this. I'm super rambling right now.
I just want to add that Rob is a kick-ass manager. He crushes his job. It is a pleasure to work with him.
That's
I love
great.
you too, Rob. You're amazing.
Well,
Couldn't ask for a better partner in all of this.
you are so awesome. This is the community that I'm talking about. Like, just bonding, respect, appreciation, and I'm actually getting teary-eyed just saying it. Like, I just love it. This is why I'm in the community. I see it on everyone's face, not just one single person, but everyone carries the same kind of face, the same kind of gesture. Welcome, come into this, let's group hug, and let's do some PK,
100%.
Love it. Oh, I did get teary-eyed.
All right, I guess we'll call it here. Go for the wrap up here.
Sure. Yeah.
If people want to find you guys, where's the best place for them to do that? Is your Instagram or?
Our gym is Breathe Parkour. You can find us on Instagram, Breathe Parkour Calgary, I think, is our Instagram handle. My handle is PaulRobPK. So you guys can find me there as well. And then Rob, yours is what? Rob Hill PK, right?
Yeah, it is. It was a test. You passed.
Yeah.
You are my soulmate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sick. I hope to talk to you guys again soon and train with you soon too.
Yeah.
I want to go to
Totally.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I've been to Winnipeg a few times, but like before I did parkour, and I love it out there.
There's
And
a
I
lot of
remember
good
like going to the forks and stuff, and in like my memory,
Mhm.
I picture what those spots looked like when I was like 13 years old when I was out there, and I was like, some
Come
awesome
back.
spots.
Yeah, you guys will definitely have
You're
to come
overdue. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
What is it, like a 14-hour drive, 12-hour drive, something like
here. Yeah, 14. Yeah,
Okay.
we
Cool.
did it out to
12
Calgary
okay
one
with
day,
me.
so. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Thanks for having us, coming to the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See you next time, part 2.
Part 2.
Bye.